As a kid, I was always the one turning off the lights around the house and obsessively recycling.
You are listening to Derringer Discoveries.
In your sister's room, that's where it started.
Hello, this is Paul.
This is Laura.
And I'm Alton.
Everybody's moving on and I'm staying. I've planted my feet down, I'm dug in.
We are Team Derringer.
I'm content right here alone in the moonlight.
And you are listening to Derringer Discoveries,
where we take you, the listener, on an adventure.
a music adventure.
I'm Cheryl. I listen to Derringer Discoveries for all the snippets.
Hello listeners, we are at the Starlight. We enjoy listening to Derringer Discoveries, a music adventure podcast.
Laura, you ready?
Yes.
Rock and roll. Kick us off.
Our guest today is Dan Friedman, founder of the Green Music Program and the coordinator behind the fundraising event, Planting for the Future. A live stream event featuring environmentally conscious independent artists from across the globe. This event not only showcases the power of music to inspire change, but also emphasizes the critical role of trees in combating climate change and beautifying our communities.
This benevolent worldwide live stream event is scheduled for October 5th, 2024. Starts at 12 noon, will end at 10 p.m., and that's Eastern Time. Recipients of the fundraiser are Keep Durham Beautiful, an organization dedicated to reducing litter and planting trees in North Carolina. And the second recipient is Little Free Trees, a UK-based initiative that gives away trees to encourage planting and environmental awareness.
Listeners, Derringer Discoveries is proud to be a sponsor for the Planting for the Future live stream. We are fully committed to supporting initiatives that contribute to our planet's well-being through the adoption of sustainable practices in our everyday lives.
You are listening to Derringer Discoveries.
Dan, welcome to Derringer Discoveries. We are so happy to have you with us today. Tell us about your background and how you became active in environmentalism.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me on. It's a real pleasure to be here and so happy that you're sponsoring. I grew up in a household that really instilled an environmental ethic in me. It was easy to fall into this work for me. My mother was someone who was acutely aware of some of the problems with our food system. She was a bit of an organic food nut and was always talking about the different chemicals that were out in the environment. And my dad, who's a sociologist, taught sociology of the environment at a local university near our home in New Jersey. So they really instilled in me an awareness of the environment and taught me to be part of it rather than above it, which I think has kind of guided my work throughout my career.
That's awesome. So kudos to mom and dad.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. As a kid, I was always the one turning off the lights around the house and obsessively recycling. And I always wanted to educate other people who had little awareness of these things. So again, it was kind of natural for me to fall into this work. And in the past 9 years since graduating college, I have been working in environmental education and advocacy for different nonprofit groups and in municipal government positions. I did a master's in environmental science a couple of years ago. And so this is really like my world, and music is my other world. So that's a little bit about my background.
Dan, your credentials are impressive. We noted at the top of the episode that you are the founder of the Green Music Program, and you may have told us a little bit about it, but tell us more about this project.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always been a musician on the side, even considered a couple of times pursuing music full time. But now that I'm firmly settled into my environmental career as my day job, if you will, I wanted to do something that brought together both music and the environment. was actually an idea that my brother, who's also a musician, and I want to shamelessly plug his new project called Sky Cyclist.
Stare out at the miles and miles to go.
It was an idea that he came up with in a conversation. He said, why don't you bring those two worlds together in some way? And I sort of ran with it. And at first, I thought about different ways that artists or venues even, or record labels could sort of like green up their operations, whether it was by planning a tour by electric vehicle or cutting down on waste at shows or educating fan bases about sustainability. I've also found, though, in starting this, that many folks were eager to not only do that sort of sustainability work in their own worlds, but also perform to support other initiatives already going on. So this is really what led to the fundraiser concert that we'll be talking more about today.
Hello listeners, this is Gabrielle Ornate. I enjoy listening to Derringer Discoveries, a music adventure podcast.
This is Søren Koch from Denmark. You are listening to Derringer Discoveries, a music adventure podcast.
So did your brother come up with the idea for the live stream?
The live stream came from conversations I was having with Nick. So I think you guys have also interviewed Nick on the podcast.
Yeah, Nick's the founder of Little Free Trees, right?
Yes, Little Free Trees. And he's also, he performs and records under the name Indigo Daydream.
Indigo Daydream,
yeah, he's got some really cool music as well.
Yep, we featured Indigo Daydream and Nick in episode 68.
Lay your head against the ground.
So he's also like a environmentalist who does music. And we were talking about how can the green music program integrate into that or support that. And, it kind of just naturally came around that if we did a benefit concert, that's a really easy way for artists to get involved and do something to benefit an organization that's already out there doing good work. Side note, Nick also wants to, in the long term, do a compilation record and bring together some of the green music program artists to record and possibly, turn that into a vinyl or a CD that we sell and put some of those proceeds toward sustainability initiatives.
You are listening to Derringer Discoveries, a music adventure podcast.
So how will the Planting for the Future live stream work, Dan? Tell our listeners more about that.
Yeah, so each artist is going to be performing, or actually in the case of Indigo Daydream, is going to be premiering a short film. But everyone's going to be, for the most part, performing live through YouTube Live. We'll be sharing those links up to all those who've signed up. Basically, you go to the GoFundMe page, it's suggested $10 donation, and then there's a form in there where you can register for the event by just, putting in some basic information like your email and stuff like that, so we can email you the links. It's pretty much as simple as that. All the artists are going to be doing their own thing with it. I know some are going to be like in their studio space, full band setup. Others are going to be like more like stripped down acoustic set. But I'm kind of thinking of it in my head as like a virtual music festival. I know we're not quite there yet to call it a festival, but there's going to be different performances. So you'll get a slate of 8 or 9, I forget exactly the number, links. Again, going back to the festival analogy, where you can hop between different stages or different performances. You can click into those links. It's all virtual. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, we hope this is the first of many live streams.
Yeah, I'll also say I'm dreaming of an in-person event someday too. We're just starting out with virtual and hopefully it can grow.
Jij luistert naar Derringer Discoveries, een muziekavonturenpodcast.
Dan, there are 2 beneficiaries of this live stream on October 5th. The first one is Keep Durham Beautiful. Tell us about Keep Durham Beautiful.
Keep Durham Beautiful is a local organization here in Durham. Like I said, I moved here recently, and I was looking into organizations that do environmental work, specifically tree planting, because we started out with Little Free Trees, and we said, how can we benefit that organization? And they're in the UK, so I was thinking, how can we get a sort of companion initiative here in the US? So one of the local orgs that I found here in Durham was Keep Durham Beautiful. They do community garden establishment, tree plantings, trash cleanup, litter removal in parks, and overall beautification of the local environment. And so for this project, I reached out to them. I said, hey, if we did this, can you guys put together a project that we could put the funds toward? And they were excited about it. They were super receptive. They said yes. And they put together a proposal. They're going to be doing a planting in a historically underserved area that doesn't have a lot of trees. If you look at urban areas in our country, typically lower income, more underserved areas coincides with lower tree canopy. So they are really focusing on increasing tree cover in areas that need it most, both for cooling down the sidewalks and making it cooler in those areas, reducing urban heat island, and also for reducing air pollution. Trees are magical in that way, and that they can do so many different things.
Yeah.
And that's Keep Durham Beautiful, the first beneficiary of the live stream concert. The second beneficiary is Little Free Trees. Dan, tell us about this one, Little Free Trees.
Little Free Trees, again, is the project of Nick Cheshire, who's the musician behind Indigo Daydream as well. And they're based in the UK. And when I talked to Nick, he had spent some time in the US and was really excited about this concept of little free libraries. And he wanted to bring something similar to the UK. If you're not familiar, little free libraries are those little free libraries where you can drop off a book, take a book. It's a really cool concept. And so he extended this to trees, and he does tree giveaways in his community in the UK with farmers, with schools, with just private property owners. I know he also assists in some of the plantings that go on, and he's able to do a high volume of trees at a pretty low cost per unit. So we're really excited about working with them, and I'm sure Nick will tell you more.
This is singer-songwriter and guitarist Ryan Bieber coming to you from sunny Los Angeles, California. And I love listening to Derringer Discoveries, a music adventure podcast.
So Dan, tell us which artists will be playing on this magical day of October the 5th.
So we have Gabrielle Ornate, Dual Native, Indigo Daydream, Michael Daughtry, At the Starlight, Adia Clark Lay, Elephants of Style, A Gaze, and we've just added Lena Cooper as well.
Last night I had a dream. Matty Healy was trying to sleep with me.
Dan, we're super excited for this live stream. We had the opportunity to interview some of these artists that will be performing on October the 5th. We love their music. And listeners, if you would like to find out a little bit more about these artists, be sure to go back and check out some of these previous episodes if you haven't already.
Dan, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been a lot of fun. All of us here at Derringer Discoveries wish you the very best with the first Planting for the Future live stream event. We think there will be many more. And we thank you so much for your efforts in fighting climate change and helping the planet.
Thank you so much for having me on and also for sponsoring the event. I love Derringer Discoveries. I want everyone to listen to it. I love discovering new artists through it. It's really a well-done podcast. Can't say enough positive things, and just really appreciate you having me on.
Hey, thanks. Very kind of you.
Yeah, we live for that. Listeners, time is short. Be sure to support the Planting for the Future live stream fundraiser. As we've been saying through this episode, the event is scheduled for Saturday, October 5th, 2024. The first band or the first recording artist goes on at 12 noon Eastern Time, and it will be over at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. That's Planting for the Future live stream event, Saturday, October 5th, 2024.
Listeners, all of Team Derringer will be tuning in to the Planting for the Future live stream. We'd love to have you follow us on social media. We're at Derringer Discoveries on Facebook and at Derringer Pod on Instagram, Threads, and X. And Dan, where can our listeners find out some more information about the Green Music Program?
At Green Music Program on Instagram is the best place to find us right now.
Fantastic.
Until next time, this is Laura Derringer.
I'm Alton Derringer.
I'm Paul Derringer.
And this is Dan Friedman of the Green Music Program and the Planting for the Future live stream.
And you've been listening to Derringer Discoveries, a music adventure podcast.
In your sister's room. That's where it started. In your sister's room.
Check, check.
All right. Check, check, check. I'm good.
You can have my check.
Check.
We know you're a cat person. I think she's your biggest fan, Alton.
She might be Derringer Discovery's biggest fan.
Yeah.
She could be. I think she might be taking...
She can have my spot.
Team, let's hold this for 1 second. I got to plug my computer in or I'm going to be off the screen in about a minute.
Dang, he found out that we left it unplugged.
Just give me 1 second.
Yep.
Well, you guys have had a great conversation without me. I think that's a lot of good stuff I was hearing.
I was probably the only kid in my high school that knew how to can tomatoes.
Oh, that's so cool. Love it.
Yeah, we used to drink Roundup as kids. just kidding.
We're really excited about working with them. And yeah, I'm sure Nick will tell you more.
He did tell us.
Yeah, Nick was good. He gave us some great information.
Dan, to clarify, as folks make their donation, you get their information, you're going to send them a group of links for the bands at their allotted time slots, correct?
Yes, we are still finalizing those links. That's why we haven't sent them yet. It does take a little bit of technical work on the back end. So we're finalizing those and plan to have them out a couple weeks before the event, which is just right around the corner. One thing I want to emphasize too is within the GoFundMe, there's a link to the registration form, which is where you enter your email, and that's where we're going to be sending out. Next year, I've decided we'll definitely do it in like Eventbrite, have it all in one place, so we don't have to have these two different registration, the form plus the GoFundMe. I was trying to get around the Eventbrite fee this year, but next year, I think once we're a little more launched, we'll do it all in one place.